Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Jacob and Jacob podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Robam, joined again as always by my co-host, Jacob Hare. And today we have not one but two special guests, Benny Ehrlich and Max Hirsch. Benny, Max, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Good to be here with you guys. You forgot to introduce me as your 2021 Shiva Bowl champion. Uh, but let's get into it.
So we're here. We're previewing the Super Bowl coming up in a little under 2 weeks. The Bucks and the Chiefs. But first, we got to talk about some storylines that have stemmed from last weekend's AFC and NFC championship games. And the first one of the biggest is, will Aaron Rodgers be the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers next year? Benny, Max, both big Aaron Rodgers fans. And Benny, why don't you kick us off with your opinion on that?
I think he will be back. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be. He's coming off an MVP season, arguably the best season of his career, at least personally wise. Career best completion percentage, most accurate he's ever been. He's got everything he could have ever wanted on offense. Great offensive line, good receivers. Gonna probably lose the star running back, but AJ Dillon's he's no bum. And then you got to fix some holes on the defense, but with the amount of money he still has left on his contract, plus I don't see any other situation that he would want to go to that's better than Green Bay. I think he'll be back.
I agree absolutely, Benny. I mean, he said on the Pat McAfee show today, nothing in this business is absolute, nothing's for sure, but he expects to be back in Green Bay next year. And I don't see why he wouldn't. It seems like he's going to restructure his contract. I think he wants the Packers to show some more commitment to him. After they took Jordan Love, he wants some more assurance. But I think he'll be back, and I think we can expect another great season, especially with David Bakhtiari back. That's huge. So.
All right, I got to piggyback on what Benny said. First of all, I do not believe he has everything he wants on offense. They went out last year. They didn't show their trust in him. They drafted Jordan Love, quarterback from Utah State. I know me and Jacob talked about him in our pre-draft podcast. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm demanding a trade tomorrow. You hired Matt LaFleur, who, look, he's taken them to 2 championship games. But has Matt LaFleur really been that great? Would most coaches succeed with Aaron Rodgers? Yes. They didn't hire the perfect coach for him, and they didn't draft him any weapons. Second round last year, they drafted him a third-string running back when they could have gone out and drafted him Chase Claypool or any of the other receivers that were left in the second round. So I think that the Packers failed Aaron Rodgers, and if I'm him, I'm going into the office tomorrow and I'm demanding a trade. But it's my take on it.
I think that the situation that Aaron Rodgers is in right now is not like terrible. He still has some weapons around him.
He makes the situation good. He's Aaron Rodgers. Any situation he goes into will be good. He needs to improve his situation.
I know, but he was frustrated that they didn't bring in another receiver or something like that. And I think that right now there's some tense moments in Green Bay, but I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is anywhere sort of near the tipping point to where he's going to be like, I'm done. I want out. Trade me. I think Green Bay really needs to go out in this offseason and be like, okay, this draft, we need to draft someone for Aaron Rodgers. And not just for as far as helping their team and helping their offense, but also for a standpoint of keeping their star franchise quarterback happy, who's been there for so many years. And he's sort of been the face of that franchise. And if they want to keep it that way going forward, keep him as their centerpiece, they really need to keep him happy. And after sort of that downfall with the whole field goal situation at the end of the NFC Championship, he's a bit unhappy, but they certainly have the chance to tip the scales this offseason and bring in some players to help him out.
Back to Hare's point, the question wasn't should Aaron Rodgers demand a trade. It was, will he be back in Green Bay? And I think he will. I think he's a classy guy. I mean, he said he wants to be like
Tim. Will too.
I think he wants to be like Tim Duncan. He wants to be like Kobe. But I mean, if the question is should he demand a trade, I think so. I think Green Bay has done a horrible job, surrounding him with weapons and showing their commitment to him. And I think taking Jordan Love was absolutely a slap in the face.
I'm gonna disagree there on like the weapons he has. In the past, he hasn't had amazing offenses and amazing weapons. For a guy his age, the number one thing is the offensive line. He's had a top 3 offensive line this year. Even after Bakhtiari went down, it was still really good. In terms of weapons, you got arguably the best receiver in the game. You're going to have a really good running back in AJ Dillon. And Lazard isn't bad. Number 2, Scantling, if he's healthy, not bad. 2 and 3. Maybe you want to get another good receiver there, but the 2 and 3, there could be worse. Now, I think the real thing you have to address if you're the Packers is the defense. Because Rodgers can make something from nothing on offense, but the defense has to get better. You passed up on Patrick Queen for Jordan Love. You passed up on Jeremy Chin, who was drafted 2 picks after A.J. Dillon. I mean, the defense has to get better. You got to fire Mike Pettine. You got to just draft better defense. There's a lot of defensive players in the market. Salary cap's going down. I don't know what their cap situation is, but they got to get better on defense.
The defense really wasn't that bad this year, though. I mean, they ranked 7th in rushing, I believe, and 9th in passing. That's really not bad. I mean, at the end of the day, in the playoffs, they intercepted Brady 3 times. I mean, they really did the job. So I don't think the defense is really that horrible.
But those
Yeah,
picks were off deflections from Mike Evans being wide open and just couldn't catch. I mean,
No. That was one interception. One of them was a bad throw by Brady, and one of them was just a good play. But I don't think the defense is as horrible as people are making it seem. I mean, this year it was like statistically a top 10 defense.
In that championship game, Mike Pantine put the defense in a position
That was
to fail.
horrible.
That play was Kevin King, one of the worst calls I've seen in playoff football in my entire life. There's no reason why a 4-3 burner and Scotty Miller should be lined up with Kevin King one-on-one. Obviously, you can see the number 2 corner is an issue, and there are other needs on the Packers defense, such as linebacker, because when Blake Martinez left, that defense took a huge hit. But you got to make Aaron Rodgers happy, and you got to improve the offense on receivers. Because look, MVS, he's only good because his quarterback is a Hall of Famer, first ballot. Alan Lazard, he's a nobody without Aaron Rodgers. You need to go out this year. You need to draft the wide receiver from Minnesota, maybe Terrence, whatever his name is, from LSU. And you got to go out and draft and make Aaron Rodgers happy. Defense, you can get in free agency.
Robert Tonyan would be driving trucks if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers. No one would know who he is. That's the truth.
I mean, I agree to a certain extent, but that's my point, is that he makes something from nothing. So, yeah, you can get him better weapons on offense, but it's not like the offense can get much better. If I'm the Packers, you improve the defense as much as you can, because if the offense just stays as good as it is, which it was arguably the best offense in football this year, you improve the defense, that team is automatically going to the Super Bowl and probably winning it.
Yeah, Benny, that's a phenomenal point that you make there. The offense was amazing this year. Like, if you look at the offense, like, yeah, like maybe you could bring in another weapon at receiver, but like there really isn't much to improve. Like, they're one of the best offenses in football.
The offense was great in regular season football. There's a difference between postseason football and regular season football.
Well,
you can score all you want.
They burned the Rams, who was the best defense in football, and they still put up 20, whatever. I think it was 26 points on the Bucs. So it wasn't like they were wasn't like they were bad. It was the defense that kind of let them down.
You need to do what you need to do to get over the hump to make the Super Bowl. And when you have Aaron Rodgers for 3 more seasons, you got to do whatever you can do to win now.
The truth is, if David Bakhtiari was healthy, I think the Packers would have won that game. I mean, they had Billy Turner on an island with Jason Pierre-Paul, and it was horrible. I mean, if David Bakhtiari plays, I think, Rodgers takes maybe 2 sacks, and I think they win the game. I mean, he's a huge part of their offense. So,
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Back to the point, I think with Bakhtiari coming back, I think they're, contenders for sure, and I don't see why he would leave. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And I want to shift the conversation to another team that played on championship weekend, the Buffalo Bills. Obviously not the result that Bills fans wanted and the Bills themselves wanted, but certainly room and reason for optimism for the future. Josh Allen, breakout season for him. Looks like he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. What do the Bills need to do to improve next season? Why don't you kick us off?
All right, so the first thing that the Buffalo Bills need to do on defense is they need to re-sign Matt Milano. Matt Milano played a fantastic year, 5th-round pick. He played out of his mind this year, and I think re-signing him should be the key part of the offseason. Another thing I think the Bills need to do is they need to draft Najee Harris from Alabama. Najee Harris, we all saw him in the championship game. He's explosive. He's dynamic. He's the real deal. Imagine that offense, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and Najee Harris. That would just be one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. And the other thing they need to do is they need to improve the offensive line. Look, Brian Winters, their guard, he's getting older. Darrell Williams, I get he had a decent year at tackle, but they can improve there. And Mitch Morse was a great center for them this season, but he's getting a little older. So they maybe need to look in the 2nd or 3rd round to draft his replacement.
Honestly, talent-wise, I don't think they have that much to work on. I mean, yeah, their offensive line looked pretty bad against the Chiefs, and their defense, didn't look great. But then again, they're playing the Chiefs. I think it's time, and I think Josh Allen's going to develop more. And I think, they have a lot of young players, and I think next year with more experience and another year in the system, I think they're obviously legit contenders, and they could very well be in the Super Bowl next year. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Abel staying is huge for them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree a lot. I think if there was one thing I would say they should do this offseason is add some more playmakers to the offense. I mean, you got so many wide receiver free agents this year. Even if you don't grab the big two like Godwin or Robinson, you still got Kenny Galladay, Will Fuller, Antonio Brown's free agents. I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there. So I think you bring in one. If you have the money, two good free agent wide receivers this year, bolster up that offense. Because we saw the Josh Allen Stephon Diggs connection. It's amazing. But imagine you put another guy on the opposite side of the field of Stephon Diggs. I mean, that offense, I don't know how you stop it.
You know,
Yeah,
I think
I certainly agree, Benny. Like, look what Kansas City has. They have weapons all over the football field, and it's impossible to stop. I think you look at Stephon Diggs and that connection they had. Defenses are going to figure that out a little bit. Stephon Diggs, I doubt he'll have the season that he had this year. He'll still have a great season next year, but he's not going to put up maybe 1,500 yards again. But I think
You
when you
can't
look
say
at
that. You really can't say that about a top wide receiver in the NFL.
yeah, but defenses will figure him out, and the Bills are definitely going to have to
Well,
spread the ball out a little bit more.
Has defenses figured out Julio Jones for the past 10 seasons? We'll see.
I don't really think
Interesting.
they need to worry about their wide receivers. I mean, they have Stephon Diggs, you know, one of the premier receivers in the NFL. They have Cole Beasley, a great slot guy, and they have John Brown. I mean, I think it's what Jacob was saying. I mean, they need a running game. They pass on first down. They pass every time. They really don't have a running game. I think they didn't run one time in the first quarter against Baltimore. I mean, that's horrible. But I think weapons wise, I think they have some good wideouts.
I mean, I agree.
Cole Beasley won't be there forever.
I think I think Cole Beasley signed a 4-year deal.
Yeah, but
Cole
he's
Beasley
older. He's older.
Cole Beasley's a premier slot receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that they should get a running back this offseason because I don't think any of us have much confidence in Devin Singletary. But I don't think you spend your first round pick on that. As great as Najee Harris is, I think you can get a guy for better value pick lower in the draft. Maybe if Chuba Hubbard, is he going to the draft or is he staying in college?
Chuba Hubbard's a bum.
He's horrible.
He's a bona fide
but
scrub.
here's my point. Or did you like Aaron Jones is going to be a free agent. Jamal Williams is going to be a free agent. There's other running backs out there. You don't have to go grab an elite guy like which we all expect Najee Harris to be. You can get a solid guy because it's not like their offensive line is bad. Plus, with the pass game, I mean, the running game shouldn't be that bad if you have an average guy. It's just Singletary is. I mean, no disrespect to him. He's a solid player, but they need somebody better. They got to get an upgrade there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Zach Moss, you don't even know if he's the answer. He wasn't great this season, some fumbling problems. So the Bills, though, still bright future, going to be a good team next season. But let's move on to the topic we're all here to talk about. The Super Bowl coming up February 7th. Baby GOAT Patrick Mahomes versus the GOAT Tom Brady. Let's kick it off. Give us your game picks and why that team that you think is going to win and what the score is going to be. Max, you want to start?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs whoop. I think they absolutely destroyed them. I mean, that offense is unstoppable. No one can cover Tyreek Hill. We saw that this week. Like, no one can cover him, and when they try, Kelsey will be open. I just don't think that defense is good enough. And honestly, the Chiefs D, it's really disciplined, and I think they're going to stop Brady, a decent amount of times, and all they need is a few stops because no one can stop Mahomes. I think they're going to put up 30 points at least. I think they'll win by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think we have to start talking about as great as Devontae Adams has been, as great as Julio Jones has been, Tyreek Hill might be the best receiver in football. We got to start talking about it more seriously in that conversation. I mean, the amount of weapons they've had, plus they're probably getting Sammy Watkins back, which they haven't had for a lot of the season. And we haven't seen them at all this year have the gas pedal all games. Like they've been awesome for like first half, maybe stop trying a little bit in the third quarter, then they go off because they got to seal the game. Did that against the Buccaneers the first time they played. Went crazy in the first half. Tampa made it a little close. Kansas City said nope, and then they went off and made sure they won the game. They keep their foot on the gas the whole game. I mean, who knows how high the score can go?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs win the football game, but I think one thing with the Bucs is their quarterback Tom Brady. I mean, he's not getting blown out in the Super Bowl. He's not going to let it happen. The Chiefs are a phenomenal team, and I think they're going to win. My pick is Kansas City 27-20. But I think that Tom Brady is going to keep his team in the game. It'll be close, but in the end, that offense in Kansas City, that team's just too good. They'll prevail. But I think when you look at Tampa Bay, they made a lot of mistakes the last time that they played the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill just absolutely torched them. They struggled to make adjustments. So I think that they have a lot to look at to go back to and say, we can change this, we can change that. They're not going to be able to stop the Chiefs, but at least maybe they'll be able to slow them down. Maybe they'll force Mahomes into a turnover or two, and then they can go from there, and maybe they'll be able to win that game. But it wouldn't shock me at all if Brady pulls it out right now. I'm sticking with the Chiefs 27-20, and I think it'll be a close game to the finish where the Chiefs pull away at the end.
All right, so my score prediction is 32-29 Chiefs. And look, I have Harrison Butker kicking a game-winning field goal because Tom Brady won his second Super Bowl off an Adam Vinatieri game-winning field goal. And look, Mahomes is the closest thing we maybe ever will see to Tom Brady, and he has potential to be the GOAT. I don't think he'll ever get there, but he definitely has the potential. And this is just going to be the game for the ages, and I'm really excited to see what Mahomes can do against Brady. And look, even if Brady gets his 7th ring, there's no debate. He's the greatest athlete of all time, and there's no one in that conversation. The debate is over if he wins.
So 2 things. One, I think in terms of greatness, he's the closest thing we're having to Tom Brady. But other than that, I think the comparisons end. I mean, I think his play style is completely different from Tom Brady, and how he played at the beginning of his career was
It's just the greatness that they have.
Greatness, I agree. In terms of athletes in all sports, I mean, I think Brady's definitely in that discussion. Like, it's up there, but I don't know if you can definitively say he's better than the Gretzky's of the world, Babe Ruths of the world, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. I don't know if you can definitively say he's better than all those guys.
Well, I mean, his durability and he's still doing it at 43. It's just unbelievable.
And let's
There's
not forget.
no there.
Yeah, you can continue. Sorry, my bad.
And let's just not forget, he switched conferences. There was no offseason. COVID happened, new coaches, new teammates, new everything, and he still made the Super Bowl. It's just unbelievable. No one will ever be him.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is that in the NFL, you don't see teams like repeat. You don't really see you have so many players on the roster. So much is changing. You don't really see teams win the Super Bowl more than once or twice. And like what Brady's done is just historic. I mean, Peyton Manning has 2 rings. Aaron Rodgers has 1. Drew Brees has 1. Big Ben has 1. And then you have Tom Brady has 7. I mean, that's remarkable. Meanwhile, in basketball, it's a lot easier to repeat. So I mean, I do think Tom Brady's in a conversation in a group of his own, really. So I agree with Harry.
He's played in 18% of all Super Bowls, or he's about to play in 18% of all Super Bowls. There's no one that even comes close to that stat.
Now, the one thing that I would say is that he is definitely the GOAT in football. But when we compare him to other sports, we have to acknowledge football is so much of a team game compared to other sports where Tom Brady could play phenomenally. Like that Super Bowl performance against the Eagles, one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time. You can play that well and lose. So Brady played amazing, but his teams have also been amazing. Basketball, baseball, even hockey to a certain extent. Those are much more player-reliant sports where you have amazing players, you can win. You don't need a lot of other things to happen around you versus football, which I think is probably the most team-oriented sport in the world.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about individual versus team, the greatest individual athlete of all time, in my opinion, is Serena Williams, just because of all her accomplishments and stuff. But team sport-wise, it's Brady. Michael Jordan, look, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. We'll never see another Michael Jordan, and the closest thing we'll ever see to Michael Jordan was Kobe Bryant. In the NFL, Patrick Mahomes has all the talent in the world to be the greatest, but Tom Brady's there. He just doesn't have the potential to be that, or he has the potential to be it, but I don't think he'll ever reach it. And you see, last season, the Bucs were a 7-9 team who didn't make the playoffs. Tom Brady comes in, and Bruce Arians said in his post-game conference on Sunday, Tom Brady made these guys believe. I don't believe any other athlete in the world could do that.
Was Todd Bowles there last year, or is this his first season with the Bucs?
I believe it's his second season.
Okay.
And I believe it's Leftwich's second.
And I give Brady all the credit in the world for how the Bucs are doing. But if it was just Brady, I don't know if they're in this position. Antonio Brown comes as well. Gronk comes as well. Now, they come because of Brady. I'm not taking that away from him. But it wasn't like it was just Tom Brady. They added other pieces around it too. And the rookie Wirfs is, I mean, he won't win Rookie of the Year because unfortunately people don't vote for offensive linemen, but he might be the best rookie in football.
Yeah, for sure. So while we're on the topic of legacies, let's talk about Andy Reid and his legacy, one of the coaches in the Super Bowl matchup. What does a second Super Bowl do for him, Benny?
I think it does a lot for his legacy, but I think we'll really see his legacy in 5 to 6 years when the Chiefs, they're great, but let's say they're not as great as right now, because right now they're a powerhouse. And I agree, Coach. I think coaching is the most important. It is most important in football compared to other sports. And Andy Reid's an amazing coach. But if they keep this up like the Pats dynasty and they're rolling for years to come, and it's not just a 2-3 year thing, then I think you got to talk about him as 3-4 greatest coaches of all time. Right now, he's definitely in the top 10, close to 5. I don't know if he completely cracks the top 5 with the second Super Bowl, but I think if they keep this up for years to come, then he's definitely 2 or 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Andy Reid already up there, even without the Super Bowl title, is already up there as one of the great coaches we've ever seen in the game of football. But I think second Super Bowl certainly enhances his legacy. Definitely adds to his long career list of accolades. But I think it'll be interesting to see if Andy gets it. Will Tom Brady enhance his legacy, or will Andy add another title to his? But moving on.
Oh wait, can I say one thing about Andy Reid?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
he's just totally changed the game of football. I mean, if you watch the Chiefs like 4 seasons ago, no one was motioning as much as them. Like they have so many motions, or like confusing the defense on all these different plays. Tyreek Hill running behind the line of scrimmage, all this stuff. I mean, Andy Reid is so creative, and I think he's already a top 5 coach. And then when they win the Super Bowl, because I believe they will, it just solidifies himself as an all-time great. If you switch roles with Belichick, maybe he would have even more. I don't know.
I mean,
The other thing about Andy Reid that's so impressive to me is 10 years ago, you look at his play calling, he's adapted as the game of football changed. The
Exactly.
play calling, it just revolutionized the whole game, and I
look at
respect
Pete
the hell out
Carroll.
of Andy.
Pete Carroll plays
Carroll.
the same football played 20 years ago. Andy Reid is
Yeah.
really changing with the game. So
Every year, he's very innovative as well.
I look at Andy
Go ahead,
Reid a
Ben.
lot the way I look at Mike Shanahan. I hold them in very similar regard right now. Guys have changed the way football was played in terms of their play calling and the offenses they ran. But Shanahan has 2 Super Bowls, I believe.
Yeah, both with an Elway.
Yeah. I think he might have some as assistants, but as a head coach, he has 2.
Head coaches where it counts.
Andy Reid, I think, with his second Super Bowl, puts him ahead of Shanahan for me, and then he's starting to climb up the list a lot. But right now, I hold him in very similar regard to Mike Shanahan in terms of their influence and what they've done for the game of football. They both won Super Bowls, and if he wins another, I know Shanahan has 2, but I think Reid's 2 pushes him farther up.
All right.
Yeah, so, Harry, now you can go.
All right. Great points by both of you. But my next question for all of you guys is every year we see a breakout player in the Super Bowl. We saw it a few years ago in that Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl. The dude, Chris Matthews, never caught a pass in his NFL career, comes out of nowhere and erupts for 100 yards. And we saw it 2 or 3 years ago. Wow, Eagles Super Bowl feels so long ago. But with Corey Clement, he broke out of nowhere. This season and this game, who is that breakout player and why? Max, I'll let you start.
Yeah, I think Mecole Hardman. I think after that fumble, he's really on a mission, and like we saw, that Andy Reid wasn't giving up with him. I mean, he gave him that, like they consistently went to him after that fumble, and I think it's going to carry over into next week. And yeah, I think he has 100 yards, maybe a touchdown, maybe he has 2 deep touchdowns. I don't know, but I think after that fumble, Mahomes showed that he's still going to him, and he has his trust in him, and so did Andy Reid.
I want to say one guy who I think it could be. I think Tyler Johnson, wide receiver for the Buccaneers. He's shown he can make some big catches. He's come on late in the season a little bit. He's been a nice 4th option at wide receiver for that team. It's crazy how many options they have, but I think a guy like him could sneak into the spotlight in the Super Bowl.
Honestly, I think he's the 5th option after Scotty Miller. If you look on targets, Scotty Miller's had more targets this year.
4-3 burner.
I don't want to say he's a sleeper because he's been performing all year for him, but I feel like even though I think Kansas City is going to win, I think they'll win by a good amount. I can see Scotty Miller easily going for 100+ yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, the connection he's built with Brady, plus all the different routes he can run and where he can line up on the field. I mean, he's got that speed to line up on the outside. He can be a slot receiver. He can do a lot of different things for him. And the trust that he has with Brady, I think he's destined for a big game.
All right, my guy he was Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's backup in college, but he's not going to be Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's backup next Sunday. Give me Darrell Williams with a monster game. I think he goes over 100 yards. He's looked good all postseason. Clyde was out the divisional round, and Bell didn't play last week, so he's been getting his reps, and I feel like Andy's just building him up for a huge Super Bowl, and I think this guy's going to He's not going to win Super Bowl MVP because that's going to go to Patty, but he's going to get some votes, and I would not be shocked if he has over 100 yards.
I want to say one thing, sort of just a funny scenario that would be cool to happen. What if Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown both are the breakout stars of the Super Bowl? How ironic and funny would that be?
Ben Roethlisberger would have a fit on his couch.
Steelers fans will be drinking their pain away.
I don't think that's going to happen considering Antonio Brown's injury, both their injuries actually. They both really haven't been playing.
I don't know what Le'Veon's status is. I know he missed last game. I don't know if he missed the last two, but I think Antonio Brown should be back. I mean, he was a game day decision, so again, on Sunday. So give it 2 weeks. I don't see how he's not back unless something's more serious than they've been telling us.
Yeah, but with the way Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson played, I don't know if he's going to get as many reps as the other guys, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
True. Yeah,
all right.
All depend on his health.
All right. So my next question for all of you guys is, what are the keys to win for each team? Earl, I'll let you start off.
I think it's going to take a turnover, if not multiple turnovers, from each team. I think for the Bucs, it's definitely going to take a turnover to win the game. I think if you don't turn over Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be really hard to stop them. It doesn't even have to be Patrick Mahomes. It could be a fumble, anything. I think it's going to take a turnover. It's going to have to slow down that offense, shift the momentum a little bit. And also one more thing I'd like to add is that the Bucs are going to have to be firing on all cylinders. Brady's going to have to make some throws. They're going to have to put up points because Kansas City is going to put up points. And hey, one thing I want to say is last Super Bowl, it took the Chiefs some time to get going. Fourth quarter, the Chiefs offense came on and they ended up coming out with a dub. But I think with the Buccaneers, if they get out to a lead, will they be able to hold that lead? It's going to be very important and crucial to how this game turns out. If they go out to an early lead and the Chiefs storm back, it's going to be like, come on now. It's going to be like that defense got so much praise after what they did last week to Aaron Rodgers, and then for them to sort of fall apart late would be a bummer for the Buccaneers and their fans. But I think if their defense can just play somewhat well and slow down the Chiefs a bit, I think they'll be Super Bowl champions.
As long as Kansas City keeps their foot on the gas, I think they're going to win. I mean, we saw in their earlier matchup this year, they got off to a hot start and then they started running it. They started, not being as aggressive and they let Brady back in the game. And we saw, against Atlanta, the last thing you can do is let Brady back in the game. So I think as long as Kansas City keeps their foot on the gas, play the football they've been playing all year, aggressive, I don't see, Tampa Bay with a shot at winning.
Yeah, Max, I really like the point that you made because I think with the 49ers didn't really have an offense that could put you out of the game. It's not like Tampa Bay where they have all those weapons, Tom Brady, where that offense could end the game really quick, just as the Chiefs offense could end the game really quick. If either team gets out to a slow start, it's going to be tough to come back with how those offenses can perform so quickly and put up points so fast and big number of points as well. So I think that's also a very good point for you. Both teams, not just the Chiefs, have to keep their foot on the gas the entire way.
Yep.
You know what a lot of the Bucs points came from in the second half of that game? A lot of garbage time. That's where it came from. We won't see most of that in this Super Bowl. But I said it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to go back and forth until Harrison Butker's game-winning field goal.
Yeah, I think when it comes to keys to the game, I think for Tampa, it's really two main keys. I think one, you got to get ahead, and then you got to have control of the clock because Kansas City, first of all, they can get back into any game like that. We know it. But I think if Kansas City gets a lead first, I don't know how you just take the lead back. And I think then if they are playing from behind, now we've seen like countless times they can come back, but it's a little harder for them. And if you play perfect football and you get a lead first, and then you can win the game. Now the other one, which in my opinion is bigger for the Bucs, is you got to stop Tyreek Hill. I don't know how you do it. I don't think anybody knows how to do it. Got to double him, even triple him. But I'll let Mecole Hardman and Sammy Watkins beat me, but you can't let Tyreek Hill beat you. That dude is crazy. Yards after catch, unbelievable. He can blow by anybody. He can run it. He's a good route runner. Can catch anything. And he's got the perfect quarterback for him, throwing him the ball, who can just drop dimes all over the field. Now for Kansas City, I don't really think there is any big thing they got to do, but just to all your points, just keep your foot on the gas. Get some points. You get a lead, keep going. Don't stop. Don't start playing like low tempo. Be aggressive. Keep going.
Don't be like Anthony Lynn.
Yeah.
No one wants to be like Anthony Lynn if you're an NFL head coach. That's why he's an offensive coordinator now.
The Lions got him. So.
Hey, I heard Benny, you were telling me you like Dan Campbell. Want to
Oh,
break down that hire
Love
quickly?
Dan Campbell hired MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell. We're going to be biting off kneecaps. Lions going 16-0. They're my 2022 Super Bowl, 2021-2022 Super Bowl champs. Lions are going crazy this year. Count on them.
All right. We'll see who their quarterback is before we call them Super Bowl champs. But anyways, let's switch gears from the Super Bowl to post game. Who holds up that Super Bowl MVP trophy? I already said it's Mahomes, but Benny, who's your pick?
I mean, I think regardless whether he deserves it or not, it'll be Patty Mahomes. I think there has to be some unbelievable performance from another player for the quarterback to not get it. It has to be some weird circumstances, especially when that quarterback's Patrick Mahomes. Unless the only player I could see getting instead of Mahomes is Tyreek Hill if he has a game like he did the first time. I could see him hoisting that Super Bowl MVP if he has another 200 yards, few touchdowns and stuff. But again, I don't see how Patrick Mahomes doesn't get it, whether he deserves it or not, which he probably will.
If someone gets it on the offensive side of the ball, it's obviously going to be Mahomes. I mean, who leads the offense? He's,
Hey,
he
we've seen some
kickstarts that
wide
offense.
receivers get it in the previous years. We saw Deion Branch get it. We saw Edelman get it. You never know. It's the Super
You never
Bowl.
know, but I think Mahomes will definitely get it. But I mean, there's a chance like Bashawn Breeland picks off Brady twice, or But
Takes it
yeah, I
to the
think on the
house, yeah.
offense, yeah, maybe.
What about a guy like Tyrann Mathieu? He could. He's always due for a few big plays. He could maybe he'll make a few and get that Super Bowl MVP trophy. But
I think he has to
for me-
run one back for 6 for that to be for him to get a Super Bowl MVP. He's got to run one back.
I think they need to do a Super Bowl offensive MVP and a Super Bowl defensive MVP, like the Pro Bowl, because
I
the
agree.
defensive players in the game, there's no reason why Malcolm Butler should not have. I mean, Brady had a fantastic game in that Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl, but there should have been a separate award for Butler.
Also, like that Patriots Super Bowl, that was one of the biggest defensive battles ever. As great as many yards as Edelman had, he did not deserve Super Bowl MVP. Like when the score is as low as that was, no offensive player deserved it.
Exactly. It was, Stephon Gilmore or one of those guys.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, for my MVP pick of the Super Bowl, I think I'm really torn on who's going to win this game. If the Chiefs win, it's going to be Patty. And I think if Tampa Bay wins, it's going to end up being Tom Brady.
That's such
And
a cop out.
If it's a defensive player for the Bucks, give me Devin White. He could step in and make a big play.
You know, who would be a crazy bet to win MVP if the Bucks won somehow? This dude, he did not have a good regular season, but somehow he's having a good postseason. Sean Murphy Bunting. Every week I hear his name called.
Yeah, I picked off Breeze, picked off Rodgers.
Yeah.
Hey,
you never know.
You've been a big hater of Murphy.
I have.
It'd be a real slap in the face if he won Super Bowl MVP.
Although that
I have been a little anti SMB, but you never know. All right, so Benny, Max, thank you guys for coming on. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you, and we'll have to do it again. And make sure you check out our YouTube, subscribe to it, follow our Instagram @_Jacob and Jacob Podcast. Has all our content, everything you need to know, and everything you need to know for this game. And thank you again, guys, for coming on.